Hey, okay, so here we are. We're getting ready to paint our sunflower, our really splattery, wonderful sunflower. And I am going to show you how I have been creating this really fun and free sunflower. It's a little bit of a different style than I have done in the past with other YouTube videos. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I didn't use any sketching, but if you're feeling like you need to have some sort of circumference or like reference base, go ahead and just grab something circular, like it could be a coffee cup. It could be, right now I've just got my masking tape, put it kind of in the middle of the painting, or in the center, in the upper 2/3 of the painting, and go ahead and just outline that. Now hopefully you've got some crumpled up paper towels, paper, watercolor paper if you'd like. So we've got that outlined. We're going to leave that there. And now let's go ahead. We're going to starting some splattering today. So super fun, super easy. I am actually going to just leave something like a paper towel or whatnot scrunched up just right on top of that where that center place is. Also, if you wanted to grab, I'm going to grab some scissors. And if you wanted to also use some paper, the fun thing about using watercolor paper as your paper guard as we splatter is that you could end up using this later. So I've got that covered up. I'm going to have that about right here where my stem's going to be. I have my watercolors ready to go, and I have a couple of different yellows in here. This is a cadmium yellow. I've got lemon yellow here. I've got some yellow ochre, and honestly, I'm just going to mix some of these up. And then I am going to start splattering, and I am just splattering with this size 7 brush. Now, if I wanted to use a smaller brush, so I have a size 2 round tip here, I could go ahead, and that just makes smaller splatters, right? So doing some over there, and it certainly both have their place. Now, if I used a really big one, I don't recommend, so if I grab a size 14 and get that wet, it gets really, they get really big splatters, which the problem with that is if you're using a lot of different colors, it will start to blend and get water stained, and we don't want too much of that yet. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my size 7. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of, I have in the other corner, some orange or some red orange, and I'm going to put some of that around here too. Right now we're kind of just creating a sense of petals. There is really, as you can see, no distinguishable shapes, and that's totally fine. Totally fine. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and remove this bottom half, right? This is going to be where my petals come out. I'm going to just gently stick this on top of the other paper, so I'm not going to splatter any, or not going to smash any of my splatters. I'll come in just a little bit closer, and let's go ahead and create our sunflower stem. Now the stem of a sunflower, I'm going to have a warm green here. I think this is it's either Hooker's green medium, I think. So we're not going to get, I want a little bit of a warmer yellow green. And I'm going to go ahead and paint that stem, and you know the stalk of a sunflower is definitely thicker, right? It has those little knobs on the sides. We are definitely going to have a leaf, and usually our leaves are pretty big, right? They kind of come out too. They're fatter. I'm going to make this one all the way like this and bring it around. We're going to do some splattering for the leaf too, but not quite yet. I'm going to just create that outline. I'm going to rinse off my brush really well. I'm going to grab some yellow and mix it in my green. You can see that. In fact, I'm going to get my bigger brush here. Take some yellow. I'm going to mix it in the green so it's nice and light. I'm going to rinse it out again really well. Dip that yellow back in. There we go. So it's a nice yellow green. It almost looks like a sap green now, right? And then get my brush and go ahead and go right down the middle with that green. Lovely. And then I'm going to come over here too. We'll end up darkening this a bit and adding some details. But just putting in the different color green really creates a beautiful, vibrant harmony, color harmony. And we're using the same yellows that were in the sunflower. Now let's go ahead too, and I'm just dabbing in some more color. Lovely. We're gonna come back out now. I'm gonna take this off gently. We're gonna put a little bit of those leaves around the side of our sunflower. A lot of times there's those stems, stalks coming out, so I'm gonna put one right over here. Just a little bit. We're gonna have a little one popping out between the leaves, and I think I'm gonna do one more maybe right in here, right over here. There we go. Just one over here. Maybe, and then maybe a little one right here. So again, just a little variety, moving that green around too. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and really, I need to still let that yellow dry, because if we put too many watercolor splatters on top of each other, what ends up happening is they will merge and they become kind of a water stain look. Instead of, we really want that sense of vibrancy and of freshness. But we can go ahead and put some brown in the middle. So I've got my brown ready to go. We're going to grab the 7 brush again, and I'm going to just start sprinkling it in the middle. If I get a little bit of brown in the sunflower, that's not a big deal. I am using a burnt sienna, one of my favorite browns, and I'm just tapping it around in here. That looks maybe a little bit big too, so I'll grab the smaller brush, move it in a little bit closer so I can control a little bit. There's definitely you gotta kind of let go of that sense of control with watercolor splatter art. If I wanted to be really exact, I could take more watercolor paper and cover everything up, but again, I'm not trying to be super tight here. I'll go ahead right in here with my brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and just outline, even kind of just dabbing around. I'll bring this in closer so you can see. What we're gonna start doing is slowly starting to bring the shape. And this is such a fun exercise because we have not sketched the flower. We are creating it really from the splatters. I'm gonna go up right up here. Okay, and now we're just gonna let that part dry. Perfect, that looks really, really nice. Now, what I'm going to do as well is I could do some more yellow splatters here. So if you can, ever so gently cover up the brown with the paper towel, and my paper towel is bent so it's not touching the brown. I'm going to back up just a little bit so you can see that. I'm going to come back in with my lemon yellow now, just the lemon yellow, and go ahead and splatter a good amount of lemon yellow down here and then over here, because the rest of it's dry. Lemon yellow has a really crisp look to it. It's going to bring a lot of vivaciousness to our sunflower. I'm going to tap around. We'll end up using like the yellow ochre to really create, I've got a hole there, that's perfect, the thick stems and stalks, and create some variation, some shadowing. But the lemon yellow, that's going to give us that summer look too. If you want to put some yellow right in here, let some splatters go on top of the leaf, that's great. You might be wondering, how in the world are we going to create distinguishing shapes? It's going to look like a lion's mane. It kind of does, huh? And then we're going to take that off, and you can start to see there's heavier splashes in some places than others. Totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and just use a different shape here now. And I am going to come back with the cadmium yellow and a little bit of the yellow ochre this time and go over here, as if maybe we're creating a leaf right over here. Okay, fantastic. So this looks really, really nice. Now it's important that we let this dry. We want it to dry with this, the lemon and the cadmium and the yellow and all of them looking as dotty and splattery as possible. The only thing I am going to do is I'm going to come right down here. I've mixed up a couple greens, and I am going to go ahead and put in some detail work right in here. Let me make sure you can see that. I'm sorry. Back that up a bit, move it on back. There we go. Come on through here. Perfect. And right over here, and then just moving along those angles, right? The sunflower leaves, they have those little, they're not pricklies, but they're definitely very angular shaped leaves, right? we've got some lines, and so we can go ahead and paint those out. If you wanted to do another leaf, you certainly can. I'm just gonna leave the one leaf here. This is lovely. Okay, all right, we're gonna let this dry before we come back and work on it some more. And this is a great way too, if you're just wanting to finish up your day or starting your day, start your art, and then come back home tonight after the day is finished up, and we'll work on it some more. This is built to be very much a layered project that you can do in small increments of time, and you're gonna be so pleased with the results. So I'm gonna see you back here in a little bit. Okay, we're back. So you can I'm gonna come in closer. It's just about dry. And I couldn't wait too many hours. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna keep painting this. So I'd come back, but you can see now when I come back, I go, okay, I have a lot of splatters. It's mostly dry. I see a little bit of wet right here. You can see too where we already have some shadowing, which I love, 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 right? You can see those details that we're adding in. Again, no sketching. It's really important that you get, just make sure you have clean water for this. So we're gonna come back, we're gonna add some more splatters. You might be wondering like the colors I'm using. So I am using, so this is a Hooker's Green Dark, and you can't see that terribly well. I have a lemon yellow, I have a gamboge, I do have a red orange over there, a light, and I have burnt Sierra. If I said raw Sierra, burnt Sierra, that's just one of my favorite browns. I'm actually going to put some more out on my palette here, and I'm going to come back now and start going in, put some more splatters on here, and then we're going to start shaping those gorgeous leaves. So super excited about this. We're going to frame this one too. It's going to be so lovely, so lovely. So I'm going to go ahead and just put down this I'm just going to go ahead and guard my inside, my face, my sunflower face, because I want that just to keep doing its thing and drying. I'm also going to guard down here a little bit more too. I don't want that too splattery. Let's go ahead though, pull this out. I had spilled some coffee, and that paper towel has coffee stains, and you know what? That's not a problem at all. That coffee stained paper towels actually make for a wonderful dabber. So save your paper towels that you use to clean up coffee stains. They work really well for your art projects. So okay, so I've got lemon yellow here. Again, I'm just going back around now, doing some more splattering, adding in some more color, and this is the color. So our first layer of splattering is dry, so it's going to retain that lovely splatter look. Now the nice thing too about watercolor splatters is that they're not going to stain. So yes, I'm getting it all over the table, but that's not a big deal. I'm not worried about that at all, because I am just going to come back around and wipe it up. So super fun. All right, so I do want just a little bit of an orange, an opaque orange. I'm going to put that over here, and oh my gosh, a little pink just for fun. That's actually going to get all blended in. Ooh, I didn't do pink in my other one. Just like if you have a little bit of a red, throw it in. It'll just add to the vibrancy. Okay, now, great. So let's pull that off. Okay, we're going to come back. We'll do some more brown in there in a little bit, but let's go ahead and come back and grab like the yellow ochre or your lemon yellow. And so now what I'm going to start doing, pull that back off, is let's start forming those petals. So starting at our base, I'm just going to start pulling paint, and we know that the petals, they shape a nice V at the end, right? But they are thick at the base. They don't go all the way into the V shape. It's wide at the base. So leave it wide. And yep, some of your splatters will get eaten up into the petals, and that's how we're going to do this. If you even want to grab more paint or just use your water, and again, we're just creating wonderful petals. We're just moving that color out. Now the nice thing too is usually with our sunflowers, they're a little bit longer than the face. So for example, this is my face, they should be coming out a little, actually a little, at least to the end or a little bit more. So that's great up there, and I can just measure, but this one I need to make sure that I'm actually going out, and that's that distinguishing feature, right? We always want to make sure we've got those distinguishing features that make the sunflower the sunflower. So I'm just going to reach this one out, and sunflowers have tons of petals, and they're all behind each other too. So if you want to go ahead and do some, you know, kind of petals right next to each other and then leave a gap, because when we look at sunflowers, there's often a gap. They're not completely evenly spread. I'm going to come over here now. Isn't this fun? And this is very relaxing, and the flower is almost just forming right in front of our eyes. Now we have those little green stems sticking out, so make sure that you're going around your stem. It's as if it's peeking out right between a couple of petals. Now we won't envelop all of the splatters in the petal, and that's part of the fun. Now if you think about too the depth, where does it look the deepest, you might want to go ahead and you can even dab in some yellow here or a little bit of orange. It's going to be darker right on the inside because everything is shadowed by the weight of the petals right in here, and we'll be doing this with brown again as well. I think I'm stepping on some tape. I'm going to grab some yellow ochre. You can make this sunflower as, you know, more of a bright yellow. I see in some of the hybrids they're very, very yellow, almost like a daisy yellow, and others, you know, are darker, more of that muted fall yellow, which is why I think sunflowers are such a wonderful flower to focus on in August, because it's like that merging between fall and summertime. And it's going to be such a beautiful, we're going to frame these. And these are just such a beautiful way to decorate a tabletop, or maybe you have a coffee cart, or you in the bathroom or in the hallway you want to put up some new art as an accent to like a gallery wall, for example. This is a fun spot of color that's seasonal, right? Okay, and this one I'm going to actually do another one right here and leave it like that. Isn't this pretty? So pretty. Now I want to actually, I think I'm going to create a longer petal right over here. I'm just going to move this guy out. Now what we do have to be careful of is that we don't want to mess it up by getting muddy, because with this, that can definitely happen. You can start to see too, we're going to let that water just dry. I will need to actually let it dry for at least probably an hour or two. I'm going to put this over here around my stem. I'm going to pull another one out right here, and this one maybe I'll even paint all the way in or mostly in, you know, again creating that sense of diversity even in the petals, because those petals look different, and we can get pulling in some of that paint to create the beautiful depth. I love this, I love this, I love this. Okay, so let's let these dry, but we can still focus in on the middle. I am very carefully, like maybe I'll even put that there so it will rest. We're going to just lay down the paper towels on top of the petals. Okay, so we've got that. I actually have that one ripped out nicely. I'm going to come back to my brown, and I'm going to just put some more in the middle here, just again because I want that sense, you know, where there's all those seeds right in the middle of the sunflower, so that sense of all the seeds. And we don't want to create a solid middle, that solid face of the sunflower. If you want to go ahead and maybe put a little bit of orange or a little bit of green, feel free to. I'm going to put a little bit, just a little bit, not a ton, but I do want to create, because sometimes the seeds will be green, and plus we'll spread a little bit more of the green inside. Okay, that's really good. I'm going to then take this gently off, a little bit gently, Melissa. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take a little bit more of the brown, and again, just on the bottom. See, some of it might get into your petals. That's fine, because actually that brown is beautiful and will just create a sense of shadowing. And move that around in here a bit. I didn't get a lot of splatters in here, so I'll just dab, dab, dab. And around the outside, now we will wait for it to dry. We'll come back and do another layer again. Oh, isn't this fun? I hope you're having such a fun time as we create our beautiful sunflower. You can already see that depth, right? Now, if you want to, you can take some of this brown because we know too, if the sun is hitting the sunflower standing straight up, we're gonna see some more shadowing. We can just let some of that brown dip into here a bit, right? We'll come back with yellow. So beautiful, so beautiful. Grab some more green and add in just another layer of color right down here. I am loving this, loving this. Okay. Making sure too my knobs on the sides of the stem disappear. So let's come back and create those. And I love that distinguishing feature on the sunflower of those little knobs on the sides. Coming back in here. Once that dries, I'll probably wash it over with some yellow. Okay, now we're gonna let this completely dry and come back in a couple of hours to finish up. Okay, you guys, so we are back. It has been like super dreary, not because it's gonna rain, but because it's been so smoky. But we don't have shadows from the sun because we can't see the sun. So I suppose we are going to count our blessings, right? We're going to look for the silver lining. We are going to finish this gorgeous sunflower. So as I'm looking at the sunflower, if you're looking at your sunflower, I'm going, okay, what do I need to finish up here? Like, what do I want to really pop out? And I really want to contrast that color. I want to add in some more dark here and really strengthen that a little bit. We'll definitely do a few more splatters. I just want to get a little bit more of a definition too in my leaf back here. So let's though, first of all, let's go ahead and focus on our face of our sunflower, right? So go ahead and get your brown, if you don't already have it nice and wet, get your brown wet. I'm using a nice warm brown. I've also got a like a burnt orange as well, and of course it sounds like there's a truck outside. I'm so sorry about that. So I am going to go ahead and grab some paper towels and just move them around the edge. So let's go ahead and first and do just a little bit of fresh splattering. And if it gets on the sunflower, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. And I'm going to go ahead, maybe mix it a little bit with some green to get just a darker brown without adding in another color, right? And then again, we're giving it just a second to dry here. And I'm just going to splatter it on like there. I'll move that away. I'm going to go ahead now and then just go ahead down in here. And that is a little bit maybe too green. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to move down to my stem down here. And you see where the yellow petal had really kind of come in, right? So let's just go ahead down here. And I'm going to grab some more green. And go ahead and add in some shadows here. And the little bumpies on the side of the sunflowers. Again, not really coloring things in, but just creating the little edges. And then getting some water on the brush and then just doing a nice wash, right? That looks really nice. If it feels too dark down here, feel free to play with that. Okay, that looks good. And you know what? I'm just going to do just a little bit of splattering. I'm going to come over here and with the green in here. That looks really nice, right? I'm liking that. Okay, and then I'm just going to also go right over here as if we can see some of those tendrils coming in the back. Okay, now for that face again, I want to go back in with my brown. If you feel like, oop, I've still got a little bit too much green in there, just dab it out with the paper towel. I am going to come right in here, and this is where I would be seeing more of the shadow. So I am just going to go ahead and deepen that color right there. Again, I don't want it to be the same intensity everywhere. We'll put a little bit more dark, just kind of around. You can see with the green, just even a little bit of remaining green, it's darker than my other original splatters. And then we're just going to leave it like that. I think that looks lovely. Now I am going to go ahead, I'm going to take my brown, I'm going to rinse it in some of the yellow, and whatever yellow you want to use, let's mix it in. Okay, and if it looks, let me go ahead and just show you on my palette what that looks like right there. So that's a really nice warm yellow, almost a yellow ochre. And I'm going to just go ahead, and again, I'm just creating some definition. That's my goal with this last little bit of painting, is I want to create that definition where I don't want the whole thing to just look splatters or just like blah, you know, where you have that same kind of monotone color throughout the whole thing. I want to create some interesting dynamics here. I want to create some more intense colors in some of the areas. I might even pull that brown a little bit out. If this is the part too where you wanted to add in a little bit of splattering of orange in a couple spots where you think that would be helpful, go for it. That's just fun. If you want to add a little bit of pink, I'm not going to do that with this one, but I've been doing it with some of my other sunflowers, and that mixing that in and just dropping it in and then splattering it, it really adds, it really makes the yellow pop. So that's a fun way to create a bit of dynamic change. Okay, just a dynamic color. Now I'm going to go down here to where I'm wanting just a little bit of a pop, maybe a definition of some of the petals, right? And you can see too, I'm really just moving my brush around. I'm not painting in petals. We really let the splattering do a lot of the color for us. And this is actually really nice. And I think too, with some flowers, there's really a thickness in the center and then it moves out. So getting that thickness is fun. Now this had bled a bit and I'm letting it dry, but I will go back in here. I just don't want it to, right, go back under the green, but if it does, it does. Now, really, if we think about it, with the heaviness of the petals, really, this should probably be a little bit darker in here. So if you have a darker green, or if you want to mix a bit of brown again with the green, but go in on this, because we have all those petals, it's going to be lighter out here, but in here we are going to have some more intensity. So I am going to go ahead and just add in as if that shadow is covering the leaf in here. And if you wanted to create a little bit more of a delineation, we can even add a little bit of yellow out here on the outside of the stem, or that leaf there. There we go. And again, just we're creating that sense of contrast, of drama. I love that. Now really, I could have made this leaf bigger, right? On a sunflower, those leaves can be quite big, but I wanted that to be part of my personality of this sunflower, is that the leaves are super big. I just think too right now, it's I love how sunflowers, no matter what is happening, no matter how hot it is, their faces always turn up to the sun. They actually rotate their heads to follow the sun no matter what is happening. And boy, that's a little bit of a life lesson I think right now, is there's just so many crazy things and sad things going on out in the world, and so much things we can't control, right? But there is something we always can do, is that definitely just turning our face up to the sun. Okay. I'm loving this. I really am loving this. Now, this is still a little bit wet. You might want to let it dry, but one thing I do like to do is just to do one final yellow spray of paint. And again, if you want to go wild here and add another bit of color, let's go for it. But I am really loving how this turned out. This is really, really fun. Every one at a time I do one of these, it's a little bit different. So this was another one I had done just a couple of days previously, and again, I didn't quite get as dark colors, and I wanted to create a little bit more contrast with this one, and so I've done that. The leaves are a little bit different, and this would be beautiful too, by the way. I'm thinking of framing these and having like 3 in a row, and that'd be a wonderful way in your entryway, maybe a bathroom or a study. These would be gorgeous on the wall, and a guest room, just brighten up the whole room with your own beautiful art. So if you do that, don't forget to sign, right? Sign in the corner somewhere if you want to hide it under the leaf, for example, and just do your initials or whatnot so that you show your work. And don't forget to put the year, because goodness, the years just blend. All right, you guys, this was a blast. I hope you had so much fun with your sunflowers, and I will see you very, very soon.